So, would you rather take the long route or the short route to success? This is a question. I need to know the answer. The long route or the short route? What would you rather do? Very good. See, I give you clues to the right answer on the screen. This is helpful. So what I want you to do is I want you to go like that. You want to break through the maze, not get caught, go straight to the cheese, as it were, and be super, super successful. So today is about learning to go farther than you thought was possible, faster than you thought was possible, and to do that with less effort than maybe you think is possible. You have to work smart, not hard. I mentioned this is work you have to do. You can't hire other people to do this for you. You have to do the thinking, you have to do the meditation, the visualization, the goal setting, etc. But if you do it, life can be very magical. So what I'd like you to do is to touch yourself right where your collarbone is. Take two hands, put them right here, and I want you to say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Very good. See, the reality is no one else is responsible for your success. It's all up to you. You're the one that has to create it. We did a book called The Power of Focus. And in that book, we interviewed 2,000 entrepreneurs. And we asked them, we gave them a bunch of questions to find out what made the successful entrepreneurs different than the people that were not successful. And what we found were three things. Number one, they had unusual clarity. They knew exactly who they were, what they wanted, what their vision was, what their goals were, what they wanted to achieve, what their values were, what their mission was, what their objectives were, what principles they were going to live their life by. They were very clear. So we're going to get some clarity today on that. Number two, they had habits of success, things they did every single day. Success is not usually an overnight thing. It's the result of little things done a little bit differently than other people, day after day after day after day. And over time, it creates success. And the third thing is they took 100% responsibility for their lives. They didn't blame other people. They never complained about anything. If something didn't work out, they took responsibility for it. So we're going to start by looking at this third one first, taking 100% responsibility. So if you're taking notes, this would be a good time to start. And what you want to do is write down, take 100% responsibility for my life. See, what happens is, if you take 80% responsibility for your life and 20% is someone else's, the reality is whenever it doesn't work, you're going to blame them, instead of taking responsibility and saying, well, I'm the one who created that. If I'm in a relationship with my wife and we say, well, it's 50-50 responsibility, whenever it doesn't work out, it's her 50%. It's the problem, not mine. And so we want to take 100% and 100%. And there's a principle that I teach. In English, the letters are E plus R equals O. And what that means, what it stands for, is there are events in your life, things that occur. You then have a response to that event. You do something in relationship to it, and then you get what we call an outcome. Outcomes are things like how much money you have. Outcomes are things like how healthy you are, your physical weight, how much happy you are, your friendships, the influence you have in the world, whether you're sick or not. All these are outcomes of how you've responded to an earlier event. Someone puts a lot of sugar in front of you in terms of desserts and things. You eat that. That's your response. The outcome is you gain weight. Maybe you end up with diabetes as a disease. Someone else, you put the cake in front of them. They say, no, I don't eat sugar. And then they don't gain the weight and they don't get the diabetes. So again, everything that you're currently experiencing is the result of how you responded to an earlier event. And all we can do in the future is change our responses if you want to get a different result. So what happens is when we don't get the outcomes we want, what most of us do is we blame the event instead of changing our response. So if 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you're not happy with 4, the world's going to keep doing 2. You've got to do 3 if you want 5. You've got to do something different. And what happens is sometimes 2 plus 2 equals 4. You're happy with the life at the level of 4, but then a recession occurs. All of a sudden, the universe is doing 1 plus your 2, and now it's 3. So when it becomes a 1, I've got to up my game and do something different if I want a better result. And most of us don't change our responses. We keep doing the same thing no matter what the reality of the event is. So let me show you why. I'd like everyone to fold your hands like this. And then notice which thumb is on top. Is it your right thumb or your left thumb? How many of you have your right thumb on top? Let me see. About half the group. How many have your left thumb on top? About half the group. Is there a right way to do that? No, there's no, you don't go to school and they teach you to put one thumb on top of the other. You just do it the way you do it. Now, take your hands apart, then put them together again, and you'll notice it's the same thumb on top. You'll do that the same way every single time. It's called a habit, right? Now, what I want you to do is unfold all your fingers, move them up a notch, and then put the other thumb on top. Don't just move the thumbs, but move all the fingers up so the other thumb ends up on top. How does that feel? Not comfortable, feels awkward, feels strange, feels wrong, doesn't feel like you. Here's what I want you to do. Go back to the old way, the way you did it first. How does that feel? More comfortable, better, etc. Here's the problem. Most people live their life based on how comfortable they feel. And so we would rather be comfortable than do the things that are uncomfortable that will get us to where we want to go. Because here's the thing. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you always got. You can't get more of what you want by doing what got you here. You have to do more. You know, Marshall Goldsmith, who will talk to you on the third day, wrote a book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And so we have to keep growing and keep changing. And it's always uncomfortable. Some of you can remember when you first learned to drive a car. It was awkward. It was uncomfortable, especially if you had a stick shift with a clutch and you forgot to put the clutch in when you hit the brake and the car would jerk and so forth. But now you can drive with your knee, right? You could have a Coke in your left hand and break up a fight with the kids in the back hand. You got comfortable. It became not awkward anymore. And the problem is that most of us get locked into our comfort zone instead of trying something new. And it's only as we change our behavior and do new things over and over that we get to grow. So many of the things that I'm going to talk to you about doing today are going to feel a little uncomfortable when you first do them. But if you're willing to do that, anything that you do that's uncomfortable will become comfortable. For example, if you were to hold your hands in the awkward way for about 5 minutes, it would stop feeling uncomfortable. Just like, you know, the first time you give a speech in your life, it's a little awkward, but after a while, you get like Rashad or me or Sheikh Otani, and you just basically, you're happy, you're comfortable because you've done it so many times. So basically, we have to get out of our comfort zone and we change our responses to get new things that we want. Now, there are only 3 responses that you have any control over. It's your thoughts and your images that you put in your head, the pictures, and your behavior, what you say and do. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's look at this idea of giving up blaming. Most of us blame other people for what's not working in our life. We'll blame the economy, the banks, high prices, the mortgage crisis, government, the traffic, the weather, the US, the UK, India, France, you know, whatever. We blame our competitors. We blame the board of directors. We blame our employees, our boss, our team, our parents, our husband, our kids. So we have to give up all blaming. In my company, if somebody blames somebody else for something, like they blame the printer, or they blame another employee, or they blame one of our clients, it's a $2 fine right on the spot. They have to put $2. We have this big bowl in our office that says, hey, blaming doesn't work. It's going to cost you when you do that, because there is a cost to blaming. We want to make it, you know, apparent by putting in the money. The other thing we have to give up is complaining. When you complain, you're complaining about something you don't like. We complain about the weather. We complain about the economy. We complain about our wife. We complain about our husband. We complain about our parents. We complain about our employees. When you're complaining, it means that you have a preference of something else you'd rather be experiencing that you're not willing to risk creating. So if I'm complaining to my wife about the people at work, it means I'd rather have different kind of people at work. If I'm complaining about the weather, it means I'd rather have it be warmer or cooler or whatever. And you know, I have choices. I could move. I could, you know, work at a different company. But what I'd rather do is complain about it than take the risk to go create something new. Now think about this. Have you ever heard anyone complain about gravity? No. Why not? Because you can't change it. See, people never complain about things they can't change. We know that if we can't change it, there's no point in complaining about it. You'll never see an old person, maybe 80 years old, in the mall with an old walker, and they're going like this, going, oh, I hate gravity. If it wasn't for gravity, I wouldn't be all bent over like this. Gravity sucks. I hate gravity. You'll never see that. The reason you'll never see that is they know there's nothing you can do about it. When we complain about something, it means we have a reference point of something better, or we wouldn't complain. If I came to you and I said, I don't like my wife that much. She's always nagging me, trying to get me to do things I don't want to do, to exercise more, eat better, go on hikes.